A YouTuber named Shondurez decides to go ghost investigating with his friends at their studio office, which is apparently haunted. They meet up at 2 a.m. and are talking about what they should do next, when something in the next room over wrecks their plans.
What actually was that?
Approximately 10 seconds later, this sound fills the building. Listen to it and tell me if you think it's real or edited.
Wait, shh. Legit.
By now, they are pretty much freaking out and ready to take off, but the spirit isn't quite through with them yet. You'll see absolutely nobody was nearby when this happens, which makes me think it could be real. All of the lights shut off before they get a chance to leave. One of them turns the camera light on just in time to see their friend blankly staring at them from the ground. I guess he could just be acting, and one of his friends pulled him by his feet, but that still doesn't explain this actual ghost sighting at the very end.
Let's go!
I think this could be real because the raw adrenaline sends his friend barreling straight through a door. This gray fish is frozen solid and obviously not moving at all. Yet within 20 seconds of being put in this liquid solution, something bizarre happens.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure this is nothing more than warm water, but maybe there is some sort of chemical in it that can bring frozen animals back to life. Then again, maybe this fish just hibernates for the winter and comes back to life naturally when the temperature warms. Let me know what you think is going on here. And if you think what you've seen is a miracle like the uploader of this video claims. These guys were wandering through the forest when they encountered someone who at first appeared lost, but after a moment they realized something was very wrong.
What's he got in his hands?
You alright, mate?
Hello, mate.
He's got something in his hand.
Whoa, what have you got in that?
Lay it down, mate. Come on, lower it down.
After this strange encounter, the boys follow the crazy man's rubbish to its hiding place.
Be cautious, Luke. The roof looks like it's about to collapse.
Georgie.
That's not rubbish, bro.
Figure, ain't it? Hello?
When they realize it's a person, and a living person at that, they start to unravel the bag and the mystery.
Fag! He's alive, bro. He's alive. He's alive.
Where's he gone?
Is he gone?
What? Did he take you?
What was this Axeman going to do with this boy?
What is that? There was someone else. What is that? He's back, bro. He's back.
After this most recent encounter, we could probably guess. Time to break out the sage again. Posted to TikTok by Ratliff Wife, this Ring security footage was captured at around 9:30 p.m. in March of 2022. The video shows the front porch of a home. After a moment, a dark shadow moves across the camera. The shadow reappears several times over the course of a minute. Several bugs appear in the clip, but they are clear. Nothing looks like this shadow. The uploader says their dog was also growling in the room at the time this video was captured. Did it sense something? Some in the comments think so, with Carolyn Mulhall writing, "Pets know, better start praying." And it's true that many people swear that pets seem to have an easier time seeing the paranormal than humans. Look what happens when this ghost investigator decides to confront the spirit of a person who supposedly took another man's life in this room.
Did you shoot that man? Did you shoot him because you were scared?
A pale figure peeks out from the doorway. As soon as its presence is called upon, no one seems to notice, probably because it was so low. Is this the spirit they are looking for, or just some light hitting the hall at a weird angle? There are rumors of a small cult living on a forgotten side road somewhere by the Baltimore Turnpike just off Route 1. A YouTuber named Dragon LaLafferty claims to know its exact location and has uploaded proof. It isn't long before him and his friends pass another vehicle, which turns around and starts tailgating them at high speeds.
Coming right up on us too. Ouch, ouch, yep. Yay, we're being chased.
The car continues to come at them down the winding road way too fast, alternating between high beams and total darkness all the while. Dragon Lafferty and his friends nervously play off the chase like it's no big deal, but I can tell that they are nervous. The cult member eventually disengages upon reaching the main road. Everyone is lucky to have made it out alive, but then they have a very bad idea.
I don't know what would happen if we stopped. People said they'd do it, but they never said, like, what happened.
Their last update was more than 8 years ago, so maybe they followed through with their plan and were never heard from again. Ever wondered what goes on in a pharmacy late at night? Well, apparently it's wilder than you think. Egyptoon published this creepy video in January of 2015. It's footage that will make you swear off pharmacies for a good long while. The green hue and flashing monitor on the desk are spooky enough to set the scene. Then the action begins. A white chair in the office starts to move all of its own accord, jerking to the left, then being lifted right up into the air before landing back down on the floor. It pulls slowly to the right, then yanks to the left again. A little later, something gaseous spurts out below, leaving black marks in the footage. Some in the comments of the video say this footage has been edited, or suggest the chair is being jerked around with strings. But maybe, just maybe, someone wasn't given the right prescription, and his ghost is seeking revenge. I, for one, hope he gets it. A ghost hunting channel in Portugal called Supernatural Persecution is attempting to solve an unexplained mystery that's been haunting locals for years. According to legend, this haunted place in the dark, creepy woods is where a bride-to-be once threw herself onto train tracks after discovering her fiancé was unfaithful. Ghost sightings have occurred ever since, and few dare to explore here because so much has already gone wrong. While walking down the long forgotten path, flanked by scary woods on both sides, they think they hear something.
Leonardo, tá vendo alguma coisa? Vai. Leonardo, tá vendo alguma coisa? Vai.
Scary voices and other weird noises from within the haunted woods. The ghost bride is near, as the ghost hunters squint into the darkness.
Leonardo do céu! Olha o vulto branco lá, ó! Passando atrás de você, cara!
A mysterious figure, an apparition, crosses their path and leaves them absolutely terrified. The possible sighting of a ghost wearing a white bridal gown, well creepy, could also be someone in black clothes holding a white sheet over their head to create the illusion of a long flowing headdress. It's too far away to tell for sure. Likewise, this alleged ghost voice sounds more like one of their friends, rather than something supernatural wailing in anguish. But even though I'm not fully convinced, this paranormal evidence has thousands convinced that it's real, so maybe I'm wrong. A YouTube channel called The Scories has been receiving constant harassment from Project Zorgo for some time now. Nobody knows exactly what Project Zorgo wants from them, so they teamed up with some other YouTubers who have been targeted as well to get to the bottom of the situation. It isn't long before they find a mysterious folder on their laptop that none of them have ever seen before. Obviously, it was placed there recently by somebody who wanted it to be discovered. The title of the folder is simply called Hacker. They are afraid to click on the folder at first, but finally they decide that it must be done if they want to solve anything. Inside are a bunch of aerial photos taken of them a long time ago.
That is
Dude, that was us
so
vlogging?
weird. No,
That's
that's
so weird.
literally we're vlogging
so
right
weird.
there. Look, it's moving, it's moving, it's moving.
If this is real, then it's clear Project Zorgo has been watching them for quite some time. As if this wasn't enough, Project Zorgo has since demonstrated its ability to take complete control over their channel whenever they want.
We have successfully taken control of the Scories channel. You will only be able to watch the videos we allow you to watch.
Exactly what Project Zorgo has in store for this channel is anyone's guess, but based on their past activity, I doubt it's anything good. While entering a deep dark cave, these brave souls nearly left their skeletons behind. Good gravy, what is that? You can see the creature momentarily as they enter. But for some reason, this encounter doesn't send them running for the hills. And then, not long after, this happens. That hissing is somehow more terrifying than a deafening roar, and the figure's features are equally horrifying. The fact that they didn't leave on the first sighting of the creature makes me think this is fake, but as we only caught a glimpse on camera, maybe they just didn't see him in the darkness. If it is acted, then it's an incredible fake. Is someone watching you while you sleep? Shared by YouTube channel blah blah, this scary video is trending in the Arabic-speaking YouTube community. Security camera footage captured this paranormal event on camera. Watch for the standing fan, but more terrifying is the sleeping woman's reaction. Fans can be automated and set to start at a certain time, so to me this is not necessarily a paranormal event, but then again, her response makes me second guess myself. I tracked this video down to the TikTok account at Jezebel TikTok, but I'm not sure if this is the original source. Judging by this woman's level of fear, I can't help but think that she saw or felt something else in the room, aside from a light breeze. What do you think is going on here? What's in the closet of this hotel? Posted by Horror Talk, this TikToker appears to be filming your standard hotel lockbox on a top shelf of the closet, only this one's not so standard. The lockbox keeps beeping and flashing sixes, the sign of the devil, after which it repeatedly shows an error.
I'm literally overshadowed. Bro, I'm terrified.
The girl is far away from the lockbox, and no one else is in the room. She says she just got back from the hotel bar and was reading a scary book when this started happening. Some think the 6 key was just pressed too many times and is malfunctioning. Others think the ghost is just trying to get his valuables. But what I'm wondering is what's in the box? Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Master Allen73, this redditor wrote, "Me and my girlfriend are asleep at 3:55 a.m. when the door closes on its own. There is a door stopper holding it in place. I'm always very skeptical of the paranormal and other footage I have captured, but this one." Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about. There was certainly some debate about this video in the comments. ASAP Rab wrote, "I'm sure you've noticed, but just after 31 seconds, there's some kind of particle or orb going straight up near the bathroom entrance. Creepy footage." And the uploader replied saying, "Honestly, I had not noticed it. I'd been concentrating on the door looking for shadows." While TCG Games wrote, "How many days do you wake up and your door is closed? Was the heater or the air conditioner on? Has this happened in the past?" And the uploader replied saying no, this was the first time in 8 months. With or without the AC running, it's never closed on its own. Can you think of any other explanation for this footage? I think there's a good chance there's a ghost also in this bedroom. YouTube channel Paranormal Nightmare TV series takes a location tour of Bridgeport Manor, and they soon encounter the manor's mysteries as the tour guide shares that a man passed away of a heart attack in this room. Listen closely.
He said, "Well, we want to go talk to Lester James." He says, "It's me.
What was that voice?
We'll talk to Lester James." He says, "It's me.
One of the crew even hears it in the moment.
Who was that?
What'd you hear?
A male voice.
Later, as they're capturing video in the building, several noises are heard.
Hear it?
Dude, that vibrated the whole building.
Oh, boys. Somebody's got to be here.
Although they didn't find anyone there, they hear more haunting proof later.
It's like it answered you.
If you can see or hear us, hit something and give us a sign of your presence.
Oh, alarm.
They hear one of their paranormal devices go off on the second floor.
Keep your left a little bit rocking.
Who keeps setting our alarm off in the cell?
They receive no answer until the demon talks directly to them through the spirit box.
We heard you walking. Is that you that
Do you want to play?
Oh, yes, I want to play.
And it seems the demon does.
Did you just touch me?
Did.
I think there is enough evidence here to suggest this place does house some ghosts or demons, but whether or not they just want to play is anyone's guess. I apologize for the poor quality of this video, but the backstory is too good to pass up. The Newcastle High School in Indiana received a notification from their security company that something weird was going on. So they looked at the CCTV videos to see exactly what the problem was.
Let's see here. The lights are off in the choir room.
I'm actually freaking out right now. Me too.
The power goes out.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
This is scaring me.
So I'm thinking that the power going off is weird enough, but look what happens when it comes back on.
The lights are on. What the?
Did you see that? The light came on.
I'm no electrician, but if the lights in the other room were off before the power outage, then they shouldn't come back on unless someone was in the room to mess with the switch. But as far as anyone knows, it was late at night and the school was empty, so I don't know how this could be. A car sees a ghost on the side of the road and pulls over to record. They see nothing but darkness, so they slowly inch forward, scared yet certain something paranormal lies ahead. Looks like they were right. They've caught a ghost sighting in their headlights, but not for long as the figure disappears into the night. Suddenly, they are no longer curious about what they saw and only want to get out of there fast. The figure is much taller than the average person and towers over their car. Something tells me they aren't the first travelers to witness this roadside phantom, and they are also probably far from the last for that matter. This video was submitted to the r/chills narrator subreddit by SailorGirl06. She writes, I'm a single mom. Last year my son and I were working on his Rube Goldberg machine. I was recording. Second time I aimed the camera toward the dining room. A face appeared on the microwave. It looks a lot like me and we get goosebumps every time we think about it. The face can be seen 2 seconds from the end on the turquoise microwave in the back. Can you see what she's talking about? I'll slow down the footage here for a second look. Can you see it? If so, then I think this place is haunted. Shared in the subreddit Paranormal Videos, this now deleted user picked up a disembodied voice on her dog cam, speaking a foreign language. Have a listen. Did you hear that? The Redditor notes that the camera was placed on the mantle and there's nothing behind the camera but the chimney. Some in the comments note that both of the dogs are looking at something in the room and one of them looks terrified. The voice sounds almost like it's hissing in the end. I'm not sure what's going on here, if this is paranormal or there's someone in the home, but I do think I'd be setting up more cameras after hearing this. Houses can make funny house noises, but that doesn't seem to be the case with this video. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Ramasaurez, the Redditor explains that he woke up to loud footsteps in the hallway and the sound of something in the attic being dragged. He says the attic is not used for storage, but has a small crawl space. He was home alone when this happened. In the clip, you can faintly hear footsteps pounding and then the dragging noise as Ramasaurez lies still and silent. In the comments, Redditor Dejness suggests to go check it out, noting that people have had issues with squatters in the past. Even though the chances are slim, there's a definite possibility, as Dejness advises, look for any sign of someone's been living there, missing food, stuff misplaced, food wrappers, and if you do end up believing someone is in your house, maybe try installing a security camera. Some Redditors add that having something to protect themselves with nearby would be smart. Others advise to just record the sound and call the authorities instead of investigating himself, as who knows what the stranger would do. In another vein, some think it would be animals making nests up there, but the Redditor says the attic was completely sealed. The potential for the paranormal is on other Redditors' radar, including the OPs. He states that a couple of his family members had paranormal experiences inside the home, although he doesn't elaborate on what those experiences were. Then again, maybe it's just someone who had no other place to go. Published to YouTube by Proving Demons in May of 2020. You might want to call your local exorcist after watching this video. The uploader explains that the house they entered is known to have been the site of an exorcism, and they were exploring it to capture paranormal activity. He writes, while experiencing heavy poltergeist activity, I could feel the demon inside trying to possess me as it did the previous owner, who is now insane in a mental institution. From that point, our ghost hunt took a turn for the worst. Let's take that turn with them. After hiking up to the abandoned building and entering through a crawl hole, the crew finds the inside looks like a surreal art shed. Colorful paper lanterns hang, arrows are pointing every which way. All natural light in the place is framed by gothic windows. At first, the general aura of the place is curious rather than creepy. There are lots of scraps of paper posted to a board, a large map, a guitar hanging on one wall. As one YouTuber, Lavender Rainbow, points out, there's a pamphlet on the wall later in the clip at 16 minutes 29 seconds that reads, Bipolar Disorder Survival Guide. So maybe the person living here was trying to seek psychiatric help. You find yourself wishing you were there, so you might examine things up close and learn more. But then the crew hears a woman screaming. They head towards a back room, with one of the dudes mentioning that they hadn't even made sure they were alone in this building. In fact, the building looks very lived in, not abandoned. There's what looks like a bed in the next room with blankets on it, a full backpack beside it, clothes hanging. Are they alone? He continues into the next room, hearing others inside, but it turns out just to be his own crew. You can hear a lot of sounds and things moving, like there are animals on the roof. Next, the door closes behind him by itself. They use the EVP to see if anyone's there in the home with them. The quick reply is yes. They also hear the words demon, as well as a warning, get out now. The demon tells them they have no right to be there. Andrew says he's starting to feel affected and his hands are shaking. And moments later, something falls off the shelf. Even scarier are the Polaroids that they find of what appears to be an authentic exorcism or ritual of some sort. What do you think went on in this makeshift cathedral of a home? A possession? Would you feel comfortable in the demon's skin? A YouTuber named Tim Wells is out bow hunting with his friends when a flock of geese appear directly overhead. One of them aims and takes fire without properly taking the angle of his shot into account.
Oh, watch this arrow. This arrow straight up. It's coming right for us.
He shoots roughly 90 degrees into the air, and you can actually hear the projectile cutting through the wind like a missile. As it heads back towards their exact position, it somehow lands roughly 10 feet in the middle of all of them, and they barely get away. Judging from the size of the arrow, there's no way any of them would have survived a direct hit. A YouTuber in Toronto called Nadell E claims to have heard scary sounds coming from the sky that many people have been calling sky trumpets. Tell me if you think these scary sounds from over the sky in Canada are real or fake. It's realistic how the sky sounds get louder after he opens the window, but that could be editing. Some people are saying that they've heard this same sky noise, while others are saying that this has to be fake and that they've heard the sound effect before, but don't say where they've heard it from. Likewise, Nadell E kind of says that this video is fake, but it might be sarcastic, like he's saying this event is real and one day you'll see. How do you interpret this comment? Here's the sky noise again. Tell me what this is and if you've heard it anywhere before. Renato Garcia claims to have had a paranormal encounter while exploring the house of a witch in Brazil. He finds all these empty bottles carefully arranged in a circle in the middle of the room, possibly for a spell, and then the far door opens all by itself. That's when some really bizarre things are caught on camera, things that are weird but possibly not real.
Quick thing! Side.
So the door slams shut by itself, which is creepy, but then he says that the bottles fall over by themselves. However, when you play this part in slow motion, you can clearly see his foot kicking them at 1 minute and 21 seconds. It's hard to see because it's dark, but when you look in slow motion, you can definitely see his shoe. With over 4 million views and nearly 80,000 likes at the time of this video, I just had to give my honest analysis and say I have my doubts about this one. If he really is faking this part, then I have trouble believing the rest of this abandoned house exploration is real. After hearing rumors about satanic rituals being performed at the domes of the Casa Grande, YouTube team Twin Paranormal head into Diablo's desert. While standing there on the cursed land, they hear footsteps.
What was that? You didn't hear that? That's literally right there. It was like walking or a step or something being thrown. It's kind of hard to tell when you're in here.
Then they hear a scraping sound.
Please?
There it is again.
We hear you.
One of the team's REM pods goes off, followed closely by another metallic scraping sound.
Whoa! That's a full grab. Whoa, battery dead. This is brand new, guys.
That's probably what was going on, dude. There's no source of like electricity or energy, but then again, there is a giant power junction right over there.
More noise is heard, and it feels like someone is standing just out of sight in the darkness.
Point that way. What is that? Show yourself.
They hear voices and then get a reading on their K2 meter.
Did you guys just hear that voice?
Dude, someone's out there.
What do people come here to do? Do they come here to summon things? Can you give me a sign if that's correct?
After hearing another distinct noise, Wyatt blacks out momentarily.
I just got the gnarliest, like,
dude, dude. Did you hear that? Someone just walked right up to that. I just got so dizzy, so lightheaded. Oh, that was weird. Like,
clapping in the domes is followed by a series of unexplained events.
Can you give us a sign that you're still here? Physically.
What? No.
Did you just clap?
After seeing the crazy amount of activity in this former ritual site, I am positive that evil resides here. Whether human or ancient curse though, not all of us want to be detectives in this scary case, but sometimes the job is forced on us. YouTube team Exploring with Angelo ends up on the trail of a possible life taker with this Randonautica gone wrong. It takes the crew to this creepy forest where they see a light amongst the trees. The light grows brighter and gets closer. The beam of light flickers in the darkness. And then they capture what's holding it. Using night vision, they get a close shot of the figure as it continues in its mission. After the figure leaves, they follow its footprints in the snow and they encounter him yet again from a distance.
See anything? Yeah, they're right there.
As they get closer, they smell a strong stench.
Smell?
I don't know.
You smell that?
Yeah.
One YouTuber points out another light beam from behind them later as they're reading this note.
Senior position in our new Arizona community. Which makes sense. Do you remember that letter that we found?
This is the...
We were in Arizona and it was talking about a new commune or something.
Okay, yes, now that you...
Does the beam belong to that strange figure? Later, as they're walking, they hear a scream in the night. I don't know what any of this means. I'm not sure if it means losing your life, but I would have to go and check the area again because it looks to me like the figure was burying something, but I'd definitely do that in the daylight. When the paranormal comes after you, do you stick around for more? Published by Han Cardisler. That's what this group did. And they weren't disappointed. As the paranormal crew is searching an abandoned school, they find something frightening inside. They're in one room examining things when a sound is heard from the other end of the room. A moment later, a large beam of wood is shoved off a table to the floor. They cross the room, closer to the action. And as they're talking, another large piece of wood comes flying at one of them from the door. Still, they remain in the room, as though nothing happened.
Oy! Sana mı vurdu lan o?
Are these guys crazy? Or are they unfazed because they're so used to this stuff? Whatever the case, they'd best run. The Phantom is getting more aggressive by the minute. If you have a fear of heights, you might want to step away slowly from the edge of this video. El Camino del Rey, or the King's Little Path, is a high walkway in Spain that traverses a narrow gorge in El Charro near Malaga. Originally built to allow workers at a nearby hydroelectric power plant to transport materials, The walkway was first constructed at the turn of the 20th century, 3 feet in width and 330 feet above the river below. The walkway twists and turns around the steep walls of the gorge in a way that will make your head spin. It has been partially closed for more than 10 years after it fell into disrepair. In fact, it was once called the world's most dangerous walkway, as 5 passings occurred. Across only 2 years, renovations allowed the walkway to be reopened in 2015. Going back to the original, by 2006 much of the path had deteriorated. Several sections of the original concrete had completely collapsed, leaving large open gaps only traversable by the steel beams. The handrails were pretty much non-existent, with only a safety wire in its stead. Regardless, daredevils still walked the King's Path, and passings occurred regularly. Published in March of 2011 by AM, this video shows what it was like to walk the King's Path when it was in disrepair. The crumbling concrete stairs are guarded only by a short length of handrail. As the hiker makes his way upward, you can see the drop below is no joke. A single misplaced step can throw you hundreds of feet to your demise. Despite the risk, you can see why people put themselves in harm's way. The solitude surrounded by the glittering river below and the jagged rocks of the gorge is an experience worth having, not to mention the adrenaline rush of being a misstep away from passing on. Still, if your heart is pounding just by watching this video, I wouldn't recommend it. I certainly wouldn't do it either. Blurry Faces is a YouTuber exploring 2 mysterious schools standing next to each other. They were both built around World War II and have been abandoned for a long time. Everything starts out normal until Blurry Faces is exploring an upstairs room full of classroom furniture. After that, something seems to be stalking them at every turn. The strange banging noises only grow louder and more persistent as time wears on. I will give them credit for being courageous and sticking around for so long. This is the event that finally makes them lose their composure and scramble. This time, Blurry Faces bravely tests the weight of the door himself and finds that it's way too heavy to swing open with such ease. You can tell he is putting a lot more effort into opening and closing the door than whatever just opened it moments earlier. Tell me what's written in Spanish across the door and if it has any significance to what could be possibly lurking inside. I wanted to talk about a ghost hunting channel called Beyond Paranormal, who went to the haunted Ashmore Estates on June 25th, 2020 to see what kind of creepy things they could find in Illinois. As the legend goes, 32 people met their end in this poorly run asylum between 1870 and 1879. Their rooms were filled with rats and flies when they were found. The building was abandoned in the 1980s, and that's when people started using it to perform strange rituals, further adding to the evil within. On the second floor, they can smell a rotten stench in one room and think a spirit could be near. They set up their paranormal equipment and begin scanning the airwaves, hoping to catch an EVP on camera.
Dude, I feel like I just seen a shadow walk in front of my camera, bro.
A shadow figure darts in front of them, followed by an orb that mysteriously appears while talking about creepy stuff, walking in front of the camera.
Shadow walk in front of my camera, bro.
They keep exploring the haunted asylum, and then, less than a minute later...
What?
You didn't hear that fat
Oh yeah, I thought that was you guys.
No, that was like somewhere else.
A noise comes from the same area that the shadow figure was running off to.
I seen something walk across there, I swear to God. There's no cars down there? There's no any cars can't go past that way?
No. Just like before, they see movement and then an orb appears. It's definitely a weird coincidence, but not nearly as terrifying as what happens next.
Bro, what is down there? Oh, Wait. Dude, you seen it walk past?
A mysterious light passes through the hallway. Definitely a ghost if you ask them. If that's a door leading outside, then I was thinking it might just be car headlights. But check this out. At 14 minutes 13 seconds, a wispy ray of light appears that they cannot explain, and neither can I. The ghost of a girl is rumored to roam these halls, and that sounds like a good explanation as any. When they try to communicate with her, it apparently works.
Are you here with us?
Their paranormal equipment registers a response to their question and an orb flies by. The timing of both events is too much of a coincidence for me not to mention. So between these strange lights, moving shadows, and oddly responsive orbs, I think this asylum is way haunted. While house sitting for his aunt, Reddit user Notel4117 saw something on a nanny cam that freaked him out. First, he shows us the room in question.
So this is my aunt's son's room. Right? There's no one in here. Right? Nothing.
Then he shows us what he saw.
Right on the monitor here. Tell me that doesn't look like someone standing in the room. Like,
does it look like something standing in the room to you?
Like I've checked, like went back and forth 3 times, and
He even does a side-by-side to try and make sense of it.
So, okay. Nothing, right? Like what the f***?
He then sets up the monitor, grabs a ball from another room, and throws it in there to see if anything changes on the monitor.
Okay, alright. There is definitely something in there.
The mysterious figure is still there. Many in the comments think the T-Rex and other items in the room may be casting shapes that create the shadow figure's form. Like others in the thread, I'm thinking it's probably a shitty nanny cam that doesn't capture shadows in their subtleties. So many objects in the room are coming together to make what looks like a figure. After all, the camera did make the T-Rex look like a terrifying baby. South Korean ghost hunter Yang Ma-hee is exploring an old abandoned haunted house for evidence of the paranormal. What he's caught on tape is up for debate, so let's get right to it. Tell me if you hear a footstep after he finishes his sentence.
계세요? 누구 계세요?
All of the rooms look completely ripped apart, and yet nothing has been taken. Drawers and shelves are overturned, but clothing and personal items remain largely untouched. It looks like the work of poltergeist activity to me, not thieves. A particularly angry poltergeist at that. But perhaps the scariest part of all is this EVP of a man's voice that completely overlaps his own when he touches the old owner's shoe.
이거 화장실이다.
That does not sound like a house settling or anything like that. It's definitely vocal cords. The ghostly voice of someone who is with us in spirit alone. Final analysis? Yeah, this video is about as paranormal as it gets. This surveillance footage was taken from the Helmut College in South Africa. A strange mist appears in the far doorway and slowly morphs into the shape of a girl wearing a long dress. She casually walks into a nearby classroom, as if this was just another ordinary school day, except of course the room is empty and no one is in the building. Even though this is called Helmut College, it's actually just a high school, and this phantom-like figure does appear to be around the same size as an average student. This makes me think it could possibly be real, though I guess they could have just edited this girl into the video if they really wanted to. For a long time, this office webcam video in Lewiston, Idaho has caught weird things on camera between the hours of midnight to 2 a.m. Strange objects like orbs and other creepy stuff. One night the webcam glitches out really bad and starts picking up odd specks of white light shortly before this mysterious figure is caught on camera with one arm raised. The apparition gets bigger as it presumably floats closer to the camera. The person who uploaded this says the building has a history of paranormal sightings. Maybe what we're seeing now is exactly what was haunting them. Freaky, right? A group of friends are hanging out late at night when a strange yelping sound brings them to a window to investigate.
Do you hear that? What the?
They start to argue about if it sounds like a regular animal in distress or some sort of rare and mysterious creature. Listen to these noises and tell me if this sounds like anything you've ever heard in the woods before. All of them soon start to feel uncertain about hanging around the open window and back away. I think it sounds like it could possibly be an animal that's being hunted, but I'm not sure. What do you think is happening? And would you be brave enough to go into the woods and find out? I wouldn't. The Paranormal Nightmare team is facing off with a demon in this haunted home. When the team requests that the demon interact, it responds in kind.
Hit something hard for us.
Then this series of events sent chills down my spine.
God, Josh!
What?
I seriously can't. Man, fucking hurts. Holy.
When one of the crew gives some advice to the other, there's immediate retaliation.
Don't be nice to it, it's a demon.
I'm up here longer than you. Just don't be nice to it. Okay.
Something hit me right in the eye.
Tell me your name.
And when they tell the demon that they're sticking around, he responds,
We're not leaving, we're gonna stay here all night. Oh shit! Okay.
The demon even shares his identity.
What is your name?
After which it charges one of them.
Whoa! No! 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 Dude, something just came running at me. Holy dude.
And becomes defiant.
Oh, Jesus.
And that went off at the same. Oh, dude, that was so.
I was right in here again.
In my opinion, this house is 100% haunted. Can anyone get rid of the demon within? I suspect there's no telling what it'll do. Douglas Daniel has caught two scary moments on camera. One is pretty obvious while the other is for the most observant eye, so don't blink.
Here goes home!
A rock slide bangs a barrier open before this guy even has a chance to take their hands out of his pockets to protect himself. And if that was one of the smaller rocks, think about what any of the larger ones would have done to him. He isn't the only lucky person in this video. A rock climber is right next to the action when the rocks let loose. I wonder if something they did caused this to happen. If so, I can only imagine how bad they would have felt if somebody got hurt because of their mistake. A social security office is a pretty strange building to be haunted, but a YouTuber named Joshua Bragg is convinced. after capturing two of the scariest moments on CCTV video that he still cannot explain.
Back up a little bit. There it goes. Down here in the corner. It's not a bug, people. I don't know what this is. I always know that there's a ghost in this place. So creepy.
I was thinking this dark orb-like figure was an insect, except here's the thing. Joshua has seen the same figure before on a different security camera, in a different room, on a different night. Last time it went out the back entrance and walked across the parking lot in a straight line.
Right here. That is no bug. That is no bug.
I think he's right because an insect walking across should look like a solid black shape. Whatever this is looks translucent and is therefore most likely something paranormal. A Redditor named RadLad1 made a 3-post series about a possible ghost lurking in his closet. In the first video, he stands outside and hears a dripping noise. It's very quiet, so I'll boost the sound for you to better hear. That sounds like it could be a leaky pipe or something, but look what happens when he goes to open it.
Okay, that's not...
His hand isn't even touching anything when there's a knock from the other side. The question is whether this is a spirit or just someone he knows. The first video piqued Reddit's interest, so he began documenting more. The spirit is in a foul mood on a different night and the noises grow persistent. RadLad1 finds himself reluctantly standing before his haunted closet once again. The air sounds charged with electricity and carries with it a distant wail, and that's when he notices the door is slightly ajar. Okay, so this could be fake, and the second person could be inside the closet, but wouldn't the shadow of their arm show against the wall here when they slam the door? I see nothing. By now, paranormal activity during the day too, whereas before it was just late at night. Everyone is demanding he open the closet and show them what's inside, and he waits until it starts making noises to prove to everyone, once and for all, that this closet is quite haunted. There's absolutely nothing inside but this creepy doll, which says everything I need to know. However, shortly before he opens the closet, there's a brief moment where he zooms out of focus. This could be where he stopped recording to let his friend out, then zoomed back into focus to make it look like a continuous take, but it looks pretty real to me. These two are having the time of their lives, but not everyone has come to the party. Posted on TikTok by Saputri2. This scary video shows a pair having a grand old time swimming by a waterfall, but as the camera swings around, a creepy figure is seen sulking in the background. The mysterious figure lurks nearly out of sight along the rocks behind some overhanging brush. It looks like a young girl with dark hair wearing white. Why is it watching them? Is this about to crash their party? She certainly doesn't throw off any party vibes. More creepy stalker vibes in my opinion. Is the spirit hiding? Posted to the ghosts subreddit by Leonardo DeFuzzy. This ghost hunter is about to find out. After hearing noise in an adjacent room of this abandoned home, the ghost hunter ventures inside, and then this happens. Something is behind this locked door trying to get out.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. هذا كيف؟
The ghost hunter moves forward and pulls the door open, but there's nothing inside. He steps further in, and despite the fact that there's no one there, even more poltergeist activity happens. scaring him out of the room. He returns only for the same thing to happen again.
ايش هذا حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل.
As many in the comments note, this video is from YouTuber Adventure Allah, and most agree that it's one of the most realistic hauntings they've seen. Is it real or just all camera angles? Redditor Nav in Person has another theory. They wrote, it's just the house settling. I think we can all agree that the other explanation is a tad more exciting. This next one will make anyone terrified of exploring the backwoods ever again. Redditor Mutt Magician shares this pair of creepy videos to Reddit. He writes, I was in the backwoods of Oklahoma when I found a random shed full of children's clothes and dolls. Unfortunately, this was all I filmed. The video shows a doll missing a leg and with its head and arms discolored with dirt. It seems like the doll is quite fragile because he breaks it with a small squeeze. The Redditor writes that after finding the doll, he explored further and found an abandoned shed with children's clothes, dolls, and backpacks. In a follow-up video, the Redditor takes viewers to where he found this abandoned shed. For some reason, I kept expecting a jump scare in this follow-up. While I didn't jump, I think this is incredibly scary. What were these dolls there for? Why were they in such disrepair? I have so many questions about this one, and very few answers. If you have a heart, this entry will break it. It was this woman's dream to arrive at her wedding by helicopter. She decided to surprise her husband at the altar by doing just that. Alongside her brother in July of 2017, she climbed aboard the copter. The flight took off in Brazil, just 1 mile from the reception venue. The excited bride-to-be and her brother are both smiling at the beginning of the video as they take off. But soon they're swallowed up by fog, an alarm starts going off and the camera begins to shake. You can hear the passengers screaming as the pilot loses control of the copter. All 4 pass away in the incident. When the copter didn't arrive at the venue after 15 minutes, despite the organizers being informed of its liftoff, the pastor was forced to tell the groom the devastating news, as neither he nor any of the other 300 guests had known about the planned entrance. The incident came as an absolute horror to the entire wedding party. It's painful to imagine and harder to watch. A YouTube series called The Undervlogs follows Rachel, Kiva, Tyler, and Derek on their various adventures. This time, they're split up on a competitive scavenger hunt, checklist and all, in a creepy 1908 children's hospital that's been abandoned since 1998. Tyler and Derek are goofing around, but things become tense when they notice a creepy clown head with dripping red eyes that could be a warning of what's about to come their way. They sense something wrong and run away, and that's when, approximately 10 seconds later, this shadowy figure looks out at them, roughly the same height as the clown graffiti in the doorway, so I'm glad they followed their instincts and left fast. If you've ever wanted to visit Hogwarts, here's your chance.
This is crazy, dude. This is my first time seeing it too. I made sure, I've seen a few pictures online, but barely any because I didn't want to see it. This is...
YouTuber Abandoned World Explorer explores what he calls an abandoned Hogwarts hidden in the woods. Once inside, they find the place incredibly intact.
It's incredible that a lot of the books are still here. Everything is still here, but just been packed away. And maybe explorers have got stuff out again and put it back out. I'm not sure.
Some of the furniture is a bit out of place.
So I don't know why furniture's been chucked all like this. Up into the tower. I'm gonna come down the tower afterwards.
He finds a marble fireplace with incredible finishing.
Just everything, the way everything's gilded and it's like brass finish on a marble leg. and a candlestick kind of light shade they've made, and it does look like a candle.
Up the stairway, he finds a second piano and some unfortunate graffiti.
So if I remember rightly, at the top of the stairs there used to be a piano, and it still is there. This is what I don't like, and I think this is what the locals are getting sick of. The wrong kind of explorers coming and ruining these places.
Although the explorers don't capture any paranormal activity, this abandoned place does have a special energy.
The way you used to hide things as well, Josh. Like plugs on the floor.
Well, the plugs will be on the floor. I'm just showing off this real quick.
Oh, it's beautiful, a lot of the furniture.
I want this.
Just a detail, yeah.
To me, it's sad that such a magnificent place would be abandoned. I hope that someone takes the time to preserve and restore it, at least for history's sake. A Russian YouTuber known as Tret shared a video online of him wandering around through a local forest equipped with a video camera. Because the video is in Russian, I'm not entirely sure what he is saying during the video, but I'm going to assume he is saying he is filming in the forest to see if he can capture anything of interest on camera. And if that is what he's saying, then he got exactly what he wished for.
Как-то мрачно, очень мрачно. Еще и в колодце что-то шипит. Может, ужик.
Wow. What the heck is that? It looks like a human face, but its eyes are glowing, and you can kind of see it almost looks like a skull with glowing eyes. And what the heck it's doing down here is a question I do not have the answer to. It looks like it's at the bottom of a well and notices that it's being filmed and just sort of looks straight up into the camera. That is just terrifying. And in classic fashion, the cameraman runs away immediately after seeing this, which is totally understandable given the circumstances. Instead of looking like some sort of paranormal entity, I personally think that this looks like some sort of skeleton because of the shape of its head, and I can almost make out some bones. Interestingly though, this skeleton-like creature seems to have dark glowing purple eyes, which would be strange considering how skeletons are not alive. So what exactly is this creature that Tret saw? As for now, it remains a mystery. Watch any episode of the reality TV series Most Haunted, and you're likely to see some paranormal events occur. After all, haunting is in the title, but one episode in particular seems to show the first ghost caught on camera in the 15-year history of the show, in which paranormal investigators pick over haunted sites. The episode in question was filmed at South Yorkshire's Wentworth Woodhouse, built in 1725. The private country house was forgotten in the 20th century and is often called the greatest historic house that nobody has ever heard of. The ghost appears in the form of a man strolling through a dark corridor.
Okay. Come on, if you hit it. If you hit one. What's that? What's that? There. Carl, I can see it now. Go for it, go for it. Yeah. I'm not behind.
The show's host, Yvette Fielding, called it the most groundbreaking footage we have ever recorded. But rather than giving us the answer we were looking for, it just gave us more questions. Many claim the footage was faked, while others said it supported the hypothesis that ghosts walk among us, but the cameraman, Carl Beatty, reaffirms that this was, in fact, real. We have never seen anything like this before. We really don't have an explanation for what we saw, he said, but the replay of the filming clearly shows the vision in detail. Spooky stuff. Caught on live TV. A popular YouTuber named Max Marai is making a normal vlog when it becomes an accidental ghost hunting video instead.
Hi.
Caught on camera in the corner watching them all is the sighting of a ghost in a dress. When they see what they've caught on tape, they rush back to the same place for a second look. What they find has left their minds as haunted as the place itself. As they flee, one of the spirits has no problem keeping up, but it disappears before it reaches them, only to reappear again when they least expect. There's almost no way that this Japanese ghost hunting video really happened, because it would have made international news. Or maybe this ghost video is just now starting to gain attention online. When the paranormal team Cazadores de Sombras went to investigate this ritual site, what they found was a living nightmare. As they approached the site, they find what appears to be a body levitating high above a fire pit.
Que isso aí, galera?
They later hear something in the surrounding woods.
Alguém vida. Marca pra esse jogo da árvore. Sai, mano. Os caras vindo. Os caras gritando, velho. Os caras gritando lá.
Now, back in the safety of their vehicle, they're left to ponder what their eyes saw. Without context, it's difficult to know what's going on here. Is this person being levitated by some dark magic? And for what purpose? I can't provide any insight on this one, but I do know that I'm super creeped out by the events here. The story of Sally in the Wood goes something like this. Located outside Bath in Somerset, there's a road that passes into the woodland of Brown's Folly, which locals refuse to drive down after dark due to the terrifying legend surrounding it, known by locals as Sally in the Wood. It is said that no birds can be heard chirping through this stretch of the forest, as a girl has her life taken there and now haunts the place. Some say they've heard a screaming child in the dark forest, and some have seen a full-bodied apparition of a girl racing into the road at night. The legends are all over the place about Sally in the Woods. According to some, Sally was an 18th century gypsy girl who was held captive in a tower, where she perished. The website Wiltshire Paranormal claims that this story is entirely fictional and that the name Sally in the Woods more likely came from a battle that occurred at Brown's Folly in 1643. As Sally is slang for skirmish, this could very well be true. However, the Bathford Society claims that Sally was an actual person, but not the only one who passed away in a tower. This legend claims that Sally was a witch living in a hut in the woods. Local records put Sally's passing at the age of 100, although that wouldn't really explain her appearance as a young girl ghost, unless Sally the witch had the ability to appear youthful. Regardless of what you choose to believe, the generational legend of Sally in the Woods lives on, and the resulting fear can be felt throughout this video, published to YouTube by the Abandoned Prepper in March of 2020. Examining various parts of the house up close, the Abandoned Prepper wanders through this haunted place solo. Some parts of the house appear deeply aged, while others recall the more recent past. There's an old piano, a strange lock on the door, and an old photo box in the basement that appears as though they're from another century, but other parts of the home look as though they're from the 60s or 70s. Prepper says that he can hear water running and regularly hears strange noises. Shortly after entering, there's a definite sound of glasses clinking about upstairs while he is downstairs.
This is massive. I'm getting a bit scared now. Hello?
Prepper calls out to alert anyone else exploring the house to his presence. He also said the house has recently become a hotspot for urban explorers. He returns to the first floor and then upstairs to the second. He keeps hearing strange noises throughout. Birds are chirping and the sound of running water.
What? Someone's flooding the basement.
He compares the house to Amityville and says it definitely gives him bad vibes. While he explores the adjacent house, at one point he enters a room. Notice there's no blue ball here. He heads upstairs and there's a loud sound of something wooden slamming or falling down. When he returns to that same room later, there's a blue ball in the middle of it. The call is coming from inside the house. He also finally discovers where the sound of running water was coming from. The basement of the house is being flooded. There's a hose passing down there, so it looks like it was done intentionally. As he's getting ready to head out of the home, he turns the corner to descend the stairs. That's when you hear the strike of a piano key.
Off. Hello?
While at the same time the hallway light bulb is swinging back and forth, he races down to catch whoever struck the cord, but there's no one. Finally outside, he turns back to look at the dark shell of a house. You can literally feel the creepiness shed away from you. Maybe two the ghosts were the scary ones. Published by Paranormal Boys in September of 2021. This unexpected poltergeist activity scared this crew to their wits' end. The short clip shows everyone panicking as a foundry door opens of its own accord. They all scream as they watch the door stand ajar for a moment before slowly closing again. Did this paranormal crew just scare the living daylights out of a ghost? As YouTuber Jojo Cannon writes, I bet that ghost was like WTF dudes. I couldn't agree more. Does this man have an unwanted paranormal roommate? Published in January of 2021, this individual woke up to doors slamming and got up to check it out. The man says this is a frequent occurrence.
My door just slammed again. There's no windows open in the house at all.
As he looks around the house, his roommate, Brad, asks if he's the one slamming the door.
Hey, is that you?
No.
He answers in the negative and continues his search, revealing that only he and Brad are home. After a moment, the table in the middle of the living room floor jerks toward him on its own.
Yeah, alright. It wasn't me, man. I didn't even touch it.
He watches the table for a bit, while Brad seems completely unconcerned and out of it. The cameraman shows that there are no cords around or attached to the table that he could have tripped over. The only cords are to the Nintendo remote controls, but they are in front of the table. So how did this table move so aggressively? There must be spirits abound in this haunted home. The scariest things are unseen. Redditor Fire from Thaumaturgy shares this video of footsteps in a stairwell, only there's no one there. The footsteps seem to be far away at first, but then come all too close, but some Redditors think it's a hoax. While I also agree that the footsteps sound like they're coming from above and are running in place, this could still be without the Redditor's knowledge or collaboration, which is seriously creepy. In fact, the Redditor claims he was walking down 18 flights of stairs from the top and didn't hear anyone entering the stairwell behind him. They also say they felt a gust of cold air and have a history of encounters with paranormal activity, all of which makes me lean towards this video being legitimate. What do you think? This is supposedly the last footage of two guys who were driving through a forest in 2006, uploaded by Lars Helg Nedrebo. He writes, this is some of the footage found on their camcorder. From what they are saying on the video, they were trying to take a shortcut through the forest. The footage is dark and not so clear, but it shows two friends driving along a road, laughing, singing, and generally having a good time. At one point, they are in a forested area when they come across a roadblock. One of the friends gets out to move it. The road beyond is a bit spookier. It's bordered by trees and darkness. They come across another roadblock, and the driver stops so his friend can pop out again to move it, but he can't for some reason. It's locked perhaps. He gets back in the car, and we can assume they turned around to get back onto the main road. Then, for some reason, they get out of the safety of their car and head into the forest. Bad idea. While they're walking, they hear something not of this world. The sound is disturbing and seems to scare the men who are searching for its source with a dim flashlight, but they start laughing as it sounds strange, like an animal choking or something. Soon, however, they're not laughing. Whatever creature was making that noise suddenly attacks one of them. While the other races towards the car, you can hear him sobbing as he attempts to get back inside to safety, but he doesn't make it. The creature attacks him as well, and the camera catches him as he falls to the ground and is dragged off. We can assume neither of the pair made it out alive, as the title Last Footage would suggest. What was this creature? Do you think this footage is fake or real? It's been debated on the internet for quite a while now, whether real or not. It's quite scary. This video, titled The Cave of Screaming Terror, sounds a bit dramatic until you get about midway through. Donnell Buckley is exploring the sea cave along the coast of Ireland by himself when suddenly the water becomes higher and Donnell hears this strange sound behind him. A series of shrill, high-pitched screams coming from somewhere deep within the cave makes Donald decide to leave the vicinity. He never gives proper explanation, and I think it definitely creeped him out. If you can identify what kind of creature this is, then please do so. It almost sounds like some kind of exotic bird, but it also somewhat resembles some of the more convincing rake videos that I've seen before. You expect to come across witches at night, but in the broad light of day, somehow that's even scarier. Published in July of 2019, this video purports to show a witch spotted in Mexican ruins. A man is shown exploring the ruins. Little does he know, over his left shoulder, at a short distance glides the shadow of a witch. At first the men are oblivious, but as they turn around and walk back towards the entrance, the figure appears again. This time not lurking in the shadows, but rather in the light of day. The men are aware of its presence this time, and as they start to exclaim, the witch takes flight, up and away, hopefully as far away as humanly possible. The video is certainly blurry, which makes determining what this figure actually is quite difficult. Mysterious things have been happening for years at the haunted Brookside Theatre in Romford, UK. Management has long reported sightings of ghost orbs and furniture moving by itself across the floor with no one in the room. Footage of one such strange and unexplained event was captured on a quiet Sunday morning in 2014. Management came in to find the chairs were no longer in the same place as they had been the night before. They checked CCTV tapes already knowing the answer, but for some reason, even after all these years, there's no getting used to paranormal activity, and so they check every time. A paranormal presence is shown on camera moving the chair and then the table. Half the table is off the camera, so that would be easy to move by yourself and say it was a ghost, but a chair moving by itself would be harder to fake, though it could be a string. I'll keep digging for more paranormal videos from the Brookside Theatre so we can help solve the mystery and figure out if the building is really haunted. In the meantime, let me know what you think of these creepy moments caught on camera. A person is making a video in the woods about their fort when they catch something bizarre that leaves them screaming in horror as they run away. An unknown creature charges at them on all fours. At 45 seconds, you can see its arms are as long as its legs. In other words, not proportionate to a human at all. This video, taken in Texas, looks like it could be one of the many rake sightings that have recently been popping up again across the world. Most rake sightings show the creature screeching from afar. If that is what's captured here, then this video shows how quiet it can be for the element of surprise. When a YouTuber named Lil Goofy is exploring some trails with his friend, they decide to take a rest. That's when someone decides it's time to make them run. Somebody who's probably been following them for a while. The sun is settling, but there's still enough light to catch a potential lurker video on their helmet cam. At 1 minute and 8 seconds, they think the strange man waves hello, but he might be waving around something sharp instead. They debate what to do next, and then he makes the decision for them when he runs straight at them. They lose him fast and crouch down in the weeds to let the lunatic run past, and then they go back to their car. What's weird about this video, assuming that it's real, is that he's dressed like a normal person. You wouldn't think twice about passing the stranger on a trail until they are already following you. It's probably one of their friends, but we'll never know for sure, and that's what makes it creepy. Do you think you could stick it out in an abandoned former asylum, and what if you were being watched when you got there? Published to YouTube by This Is Dan Bell in September of 2015. This Place of Nightmares is a hauntingly beautiful house of horrors. The stone building is hidden in an overgrown woods, and naturally, Dan enters the basement first, wallpaper chipping from the wall. As he explores, Dan explains that he kept hearing noises throughout his exploration, which sounded like a person. He thinks a former patient returned to this building and was living there. Well, as a viewer, you're likely distracted by all the intricate details of this building, including its decorative tiles and molding, its stained glass sunroof and one stairwell, its fireplaces and chandeliers. You might miss this figure in the doorway. Dan himself only noticed when safely back home, watching the video back. The point in question occurs at around 7 minutes 5 seconds, when he's turning a corner around a stairwell. There's an open door in a hallway beyond with light shining against the door, and a shadow is plainly visible. It moves as Dan turns to head up the stairs. Plenty of other strange things occurred during this visit, including Dan's battery popping, and what looked like red stains found on the tile floor in an upstairs room. That's probably the point where you should get the heck out of an abandoned building. I'm just glad Dan and his team made it out. If you've ever wondered who would win in a battle, a human or a ghost, you're about to have your answer. This clip was posted to Facebook in March of 2020. The footage shows a semi-transparent ghost throwing rocks and other items from under a bridge. As other men enter the scene and see what's transpiring, one of them takes it upon himself to run at the ghost man and confront him. After a struggle with the man, the ghost comes out ahead. Many more men join in before the ghost man escapes and assumedly glides off to his ghost den. What's happening here? What did this ghost possibly want? This story needs a follow-up. Some friends practice soccer and talk about life when they cross paths with something that will change all of theirs forever. Caught on camera is what they claim to be a strange goblin creature clambering across the kitchen floor. Only one of them looks directly at it, and he drops to the ground and covers his eyes like they burn. The creature, which barely comes up to waist level, runs out from behind this area behind the refrigerator. They lose sight of the goblin in a dark room, and the encounter is over, at least for now. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.